In 2008, a man named Thomas Beatty made headlines around the world by becoming the pregnant man. But dig a little deeper in the story and you will find that he was actually born a woman and had gender reassignment surgery before becoming pregnant. So technically, he still had all the body parts of a woman. But with the wonders of modern day science, is it possible for a man who was born male to become pregnant? I'm Dr. Fan, and this is Medical Trivia. Traditional pregnancies required an embryo to be implanted into the uterus of a woman. But in 1978, with the birth of IVF, everything about giving birth has changed. IVF, or in vitro fertilization, involves creating an embryo outside of the uterus in a laboratory and implanting it into the uterus. And with that technology, it becomes technically possible for a man who was born male to become pregnant. There are a number of ways in which this can happen. Number one, implanting the embryo onto the omentum. This already happens in rare cases in women. It's called an ectopic pregnancy. Normal pregnancies involve an embryo implanting into the uterus. But with ectopic pregnancies, the embryo can implant anywhere outside of the uterus, typically in the fallopian tubes. But it can also implant into the omentum, which is a layer of fat inside the belly. This is actually a very dangerous medical situation in which the woman's life is at risk from bleeding to death from a rupture of the ectopic pregnancy. However, the embryo can theoretically grow into full term outside of the uterus. And guess what? Men also have omentum. So it is technically possible to implant an embryo onto the omentum of men and allow that embryo to grow into a full-term baby before giving birth via cesarean delivery. Number two, transplanting a uterus. In 2014, surgeons in Sweden managed to transplant a human uterus into another live human. Since then, uterus transplants have been used to support pregnancies in women who have lost their uterus. Now imagine a uterus being transplanted into a man. Whilst it sounds completely outlandish, it is technically possible. Following that, an embryo can be implanted into the uterus, allowed to grow to full term, and be delivered by cesarean. But before we get carried away by ideas of male pregnancies, let us just consider what we have discussed here. Both these options are highly dangerous situations in which the life of the man and the baby are both put at significant risk. On top of that, the chance of the embryo growing to full term is extremely small. In addition, this raises so many ethical issues that it would take a whole day just to list them in another video. So just because we could do it doesn't mean we should do it. So for these reasons, I cannot imagine male pregnancies being a reality in my lifetime. And on that thought-provoking note, we have reached the end of this episode of Medical Trivia. Please remember to hit that like button, subscribe, and share with your friends. Comment below on what you think about male pregnancies. Until next time, stay curious, fellow health enthusiasts.